Hey everyone, it's Eric with FirearmTutorials.com, and today we're going to look at the Dillon Precision RT-1500 case trimmer. You can see what we've got here. I've got it set up in the 650 here with the 223 trim die. Next to that we've got a Lee sizing die, obviously the case feeder, and here's some brass cases that I've already done. So what I'm going to do is kind of take you through this setup, show you how it works, and show you the finished product. Okay, so if we look at the setup here, you'll see that I've got the trim die here. The lock ring is on the bottom just to give a little better view of where the cases are coming up through there. You're going to need a sizing die, or a sizing gauge, basically, to set this up correctly. Basically, what you want to get is a case that's the right length. Go up in there, then put this little blade basically down until it touches the top of that. Then you know that all the longer cases will come up in there and be trimmed. Now I'm doing this without the little cover in the vacuum that sucks off the excess brass. You can see there's some shavings here. Two reasons for doing that. One, so you guys can get a look at how it actually works. Number two, I'm actually using a sizing die right behind it here to resize the actual mouth of the case. I'll talk about that in a couple minutes, but let's go ahead and take a look at how it works. Okay, so if we look at the process here, you'll see that as these cases reach station number 4 where the cutting die is, it's going to run up into this die, it's going to be sized and more than likely trimmed. So we'll go ahead and look at that process shortly, but what I wanted to mention here is that while this is getting resized in this die, the neck is actually going to get smaller than it needs to be for reloading. I'll show you that with a case mouth gauge. So after it goes through here, it's been trimmed to length and sized to where it would gauge. The last step here is I actually have a just a regular sizing and decapping die that's going to adjust the actual mouth of the case to the proper dimensions for reloading. So let's go ahead and look at that. So if we look at this with a case mouth gauge, it's actually gauging to 224, which is where we want to be. Not all cases will be like that. You'll see that one's a little tighter. This one is too small because it hasn't been resized yet. Let's go ahead, I'll cut this one, and we'll take a measurement and then we'll put it through the sizing die, and then you'll see obviously that it's fixed the mouth. So let's go ahead and cut it on here. There we see we cut it. We'll turn that off. So let's look at this case. So it's too small. Right now it's gauging at about, I don't know, probably less than that, probably about 215. 0.215 if you want to get technical. Obviously that's going to be too small for us to fit a bullet in there. We would destroy the case basically trying to get it seated in there. So we'll see once we put it up through the die here. Cut that second one. So we'll take the piece of brass, and so you can see now we're gauging at 224, which is the correct amount of neck tension that you need to seat a bullet in it. Okay, so as you can see, I've got it a little zoomed in here. You can see there's the cutting blade there. What's going to happen is the case is going to come up through the bottom of the die here. It's going to protrude up to where the blade is here. Not every single case will be long enough to actually get trimmed, but most of them will to varying degrees. Some of them you'll notice a lot of material being removed, and some of them you'll notice, just a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and kick it on here, and we'll start it. So right there you can see how much material was removed. Soon enough we should hit one that doesn't actually get trimmed at all. So you'll see there, that one was actually a little short, so it didn't need to be trimmed at all. There's another one. That got just a hair. Okay. So the finished product here is basically a completely in-spec cartridge as far as overall length, headspace, and case mouth or case neck tension. But you can see at the speed I'm going through these, it's definitely quicker than doing it with a tool or a device that's not attached to the press. Okay, so if you look here, we can tell that we're definitely gauging correctly, which is always a good thing. Okay, our neck tension is good, right at 224, that's where we want to be. Bullets are going to seat correctly and easily in there. Okay, so if we look at the overall length, we're right where we want to be, 1.750. Okay, so final thoughts, guys. Obviously, this is a very effective way to do it, a very efficient way, because you're doing it all within the press. Only cons, I would say, is A, the cost. You're going to need the case feeder, you're going to need the trimmer, the actual motor itself. The die doesn't come with it, so you have to buy that. So it's an expensive setup. Again, this is something you want to do in bulk. I had a 5-gallon bucket almost completely full of brass, so I decided to just go ahead and just trim it and get it over with so I can load it at some point. This 1500 motor is also capable of forming and cutting the cases for 300 blackout. Here's some that I did, made out of 223. I'll do a follow-up video on that. One other thing to mention, safety-wise, you saw how I was doing it without the vacuum, so the brass was going everywhere. Just keep in mind that that stuff, while it's a soft metal, it's still metal, so if you step on it, obviously you don't want to get it in your eyes. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll do a follow-up video on this setup with the 300 blackout, so you can see the 223 cases running up in there, getting resized and trimmed to use for 300 blackouts. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.